Episode 19 of Hawthorne Springs. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode. This is Design Candy. You're watching Hawthorne Springs episode number 19. Let's get into the background of what we're building today. We are building a stadium. Indoor stadium based off of, not even based off of, it's a exact replica of the brand new stadium in Las Vegas. And boy, shout out to whoever made this. I don't know who your name is. You made another one in the First Bank Center, but cool shot right here. We have it actually being built. This is before the stadium was built in Las Vegas. So yeah, today we are building a stadium. Inspiration loosely based off of Las Vegas, kind of, not really though, because of the area that I'm building it in. So yeah, I mean, I'm taking a lot of inspiration from there, and then also, to be honest, from Palm Island and the stadium district from Palm Island. So yeah, it's gonna develop. It's gonna be a lot of big things around the stadium district specifically. So let's get into it. Yeah, starting off today's episode, I really want to work on road infrastructure, and I kind of tackle that off camera. So you're not going to see a lot of it, but I did want to give you a little glimpse of what we're doing. A couple episodes ago, we built this industrial area in the Old Town downtown district. So what we're doing is we're adding more roads. I wanted to flush out the Old Town side of the downtown, and now we moved on to the Uptown. So this episode officially marks the start of the Uptown district. In the Uptown district includes a couple of different districts. We're going to do the Baker district, which will be more like Compton style housing. We're going to call it the Baker district. That's going to come in the next few episodes. And then you have the Stadium district, which we're going to do this episode and next episode. And it's awesome. It's going to be retail, a lot of high density housing. A lot of high density buildings will be happening in the next few episodes as we shore up the downtown portion of Hawthorne Springs. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the channel. If you're new right now, there's so many of you that do not subscribe to my channel. You guys are new, you don't subscribe. So subscribe to the channel so I know that you're new, so I know that you're here, and let me know down below where you're watching from. So right now I'm putting down all of the stadium assets, and shout out to the asset creator. They made all those stadiums, and I chose this one. I don't even know how to say it. Allegiant Stadium. I chose this one, indoor stadium, just because it just looked great, and the hashtag views from the highway just looked amazing. You guys know Design Candy. I love building a bunch of stadiums off the highway, right? So it turned out great. I'm gonna do hopefully some underground roads or off and on ramps for the highway that go straight to the stadium district. And I'm not sure about parking yet. I need to dial in parking for sure around this district as well. I don't know how that's gonna happen. If you have any suggestions down below, hashtag CandyFam, let me know, and maybe we can implement it. Let's talk about the front of this build. I struggled. It took me a while. I tried stairs, I tried elevators, I tried stair buildings, and you'll see we used a combination of elevators and escalators to actually have pedestrians able to use this stadium. That was a big goal of mine. I didn't want to use a lot of procedural objects. I wanted the pedestrians in Hawthorne Springs to actually use this and make it functional. So what my plans are, and I don't know if I'll show this next episode, I might, but I want to just make this area super populated. So we're going to put down some event props. Now what the event props do is they attract random peds to an area, right? That's not necessarily an area that they would normally go to. They're normally used for parks, but they attract a pet to an area. So I am going to put a couple, maybe like 12 to 15 different people generator little things down, so we can just have a bunch of people. The other option would have been plopping down props of people, but I just don't want to do that. It would make it look a lot more realistic, but I kind of want to skip that. I'm like, I actually want people to come here when there's a game. I know they can. City Skylines has a gaming engine like that, so hopefully I can figure that out for the next episode. This is really interesting. I wanted to work on getting these escalator props. They're not functional, but getting these props looking a specific way so you could take an escalator up to the elevated stadium portion. And check it out. It actually turned out really well. I was really excited about how everything worked out. And it was a cool technique. So check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if it's stupid and off base too, because it could be. But I hope that they somehow come out with like an updated elevator, like escalator elevator type deal. If you guys know of any functional elevators or escalators, let me know as well. Because my whole goal in this city is to make most things functional. Cranberry County, it's hard, right? A lot of things aren't functional. They're just for show. And also in this series, our big outdoor mall is totally not functional. It's just for show. So I'm looking for assets that let pets elevate to different elevations and that I could just make my stuff a lot more realistic. So let me know if you have any insight on that. Okay. Last episode did very well, but a lot of you are not commenting. So you got to comment. You got to let me know what you're thinking down below in the comment section. There's a lot of you that are watching the videos, but you're not commenting. So let me know where you're from down below. I also didn't do a prompt last episode. So I'll get back on that game of prompting a cool, fun, random question. I love doing that. But some of the questions from last episode, if you haven't checked out last episode we did a quick city tour, kind of updating you guys all about what we built in the last 18 episodes. And here's the funny part. After that tour, I increased my frame rate like significantly. I went through and optimized just my game. I took out a lot of dead mods. There's a mod called Ultimate Beautification that I just dreaded taking out. I love that mod. It actually sorts all your props out. And man, I used to just rely on that mod heavy, but there's a new mod called Find It 2 that you can actually see on the screen right now. See, I searched for wall and I found the wall assets. So I'm learning how to use Find It 2. I'm like the old school City Skylines player that doesn't use any of the new mods. So long story short, disabling that and going through with the mod called Mod Compatibility Checker. If you play this game, make sure you check that out. But going through with that mod, I got the opportunity to make the game a lot more optimized and a lot more faster. Is that even a word? A lot faster. There you go. So yeah, I kind of regret doing the city tour because now if I did the city tour, the frames would just be amazing, right? So anyway, got a lot of frames. Last episode was a city tour, and yeah, we just talked about all the fun stuff that we're building and getting done. So this is the continuation of it. Again, the Uptown, I explain all the districts, I explain all the future stuff and kind of cast some vision. So if you haven't watched that, but you're catching this, go back and watch that one really quick, or even skim through so you can see some of the highlights. But some of the comments from hashtag CandyFam, from the hashtag CandyFam, is Kai. Kai says, love this. We need a big arc or a big symbol representing this city. Oh, that's a really good suggestion. Thanks, Kai. I think so too. That's a really good suggestion. If you're an asset creator, I need to like reach out to some asset creators because I have some asset needs that I need done very, very soon. So if you're an asset creator, DM me on Twitter or hit me up in the comment section. But thank you so much, Kai. Next comment is from Napping Sniper. They say the capital could represent a city/state capital. So the city would be the center of Hawthorne Springs. Thank you so much. That is in response to the question that I proposed last episode and it's actually pretty interesting. You can weigh in down below in the comment section. I wanted to figure out, like, is Hawthorne Springs the city or is Hawthorne Springs the state, right? So let me know what you think down below. I'm kind of leaning towards Hawthorne Springs is the city, but I can see it go both ways. Somebody had a really good explanation, and maybe I read it before and I can find it before we're out. But I think that, you know, it's a really good perspective of it being the actual city. Because again, cities are huge. I live in Denver, Colorado, and where I grew up, not necessarily where I live now, but where I grew up was 20 odd miles away from big, tall buildings, right? So I still lived in the city of Denver, but it was like super suburb outskirts, you know, 30 miles away from downtown. Next comment and question is from Marquise Terry. Marquise says, you're the best of all the city Skyliners I watch. I'm limited to console version. I have literally done over 10,000 cities. I just can't get one that I want to keep. Any advice? Wow. Thank you so much for the kind words. I definitely don't think I am the best, but I appreciate you thinking that. That's awesome. I actually replied to this comment. I'll kind of read my reply as well, but go check it out. I have more detail. But the question was, I'm on console version. Okay. Check out my series. It's called Hill Valley. I haven't released an episode in a couple weeks, but check it out. And one thing that I always recommend in City Skylines is if you're not detailing and crazy detailing with like decals or props, I highly suggest you I would say utilize terrain and different like weird map stuff like elevation, terrain, things like that. That will actually really set your city apart, and a lot of angles too. So especially when you're not using mods and you're on console, utilize angles. Spawn your roads at a different angle, just like I did in Hawthorne Springs. Just do different things. Put things on hills. Like you can see the stadium now. Obviously you can't do walls, but this stadium shines because it's on top of a hill. And putting it on top of a hill made all the difference. It made me do glass stairs. It made me do escalators. It made me do walls. It sits up high, so if you're on the highway driving, you can see it. If you're in the middle of the city, you can see it. That's another thing that we did with the Capitol, the state Capitol and the city Capitol. The state Capitol is actually on top of a hill. So if you go back and look at the intro to this episode, you'll be able to see a distinct function of the state Capitol being on a hill, and it adds to the mystique of how it looks in screenshots and videos. So yeah, that's literally the reason why I do that. And that's what I would suggest for a console player. So if you want your question to be read in an episode, let me know. Shout it out down below and hashtag it CandyFam, hashtag CandyFam. That is the community around here. Okay, let's talk about the action as we ride out. We're going to wrap up this episode. We have some awesome screenshots for you guys to watch. What we're doing is detail. Again, my struggles with detail are big time limitations. That's what it comes down to when I struggle. I have to worry about prop limit. I have to worry about filling space because I'm design candy and I'm allergic to just doing small builds, right? I got to do these massive, crazy builds. So when you do these massive, crazy builds, it requires a lot of land. So right now, what I commonly do is I go through all of my props and I just place them down. I place down all the props that I have that I think that could be used in this area. And that's what I'm doing. I'm literally going through every single prop that I have. And I'm like, okay, what fits? What doesn't fit? What will work here? What doesn't work here? Once I find that, I then remember like, okay, this is a street ad, or like you see placing down now. And then I go back and just try to detail it up. Try to add fencing, try to add foliage, kind of in that order. I do props first. I do fencing first to confine the area. Then I do props, place down props, and then I do foliage. And that's a cool way to detail. Maybe I will come out with like my city. I'm thinking about this. My City Skylines how-to series, right? Like how I do things in City Skylines, how I pick a map, how I detail, my top mods, all that fun stuff. I think that that'd be beneficial to a lot of people out there that watch this content. Okay, so now you see we have like a cool base of things. So now I'm gonna go to foliage. Literally gonna go to foliage. I place down all the props that I think that I want, and the big thing is just trees. Trees make all of my builds just look amazing. I also, though, don't want to over tree it. So that sounds crazy. Over tree it. And one little touch too. I was channeling my inner Palm Island days when we put the Megatron. So whatever the football team is, let me know down below for football team suggestions. I need to know what you guys would call our football team. But whatever the football team is, that's their mascot unofficially. So I had to put, like, I was like, it doesn't work on the side. So now you have this beautiful big mascot behind the stadium. It looks so good. So, and then lastly, foliage. We're gonna put some filler pieces in, put some planters, and detail it with some trees all around. And yeah, that is all she wrote. Like, watch this. It just turns out so good. There's sometimes there's builds that I do, y'all, that I'm like, okay, it's not bad, it's not horrible. Cranberry County, I'm kind of struggling with, right? Getting inspiration. Like, okay, like these builds aren't horrible. I like the builds. I like the RV parks. I think the next episode is going to be a rest area, and then we're going to do a train depot. But something about like this series and this city just keeps me alive. I'm a downtown city builder, man. I love tall buildings. I love stadiums. I love this stuff. So this is one of the rare builds where I sat back and I'm like, okay, this is why I love this game, because I can do cool things like this, right? So sitting back and looking at this one I'm proud of. I'm proud of most of them, but this one I'm like, okay, I really like how this turned out. So yeah, we're gonna finish. We're gonna put some outlining bushes around, and then fill the middles with some foliage and trees. Kind of outline the paths with some trees and some bushes. I clean up the stair area a little bit, and then I'm trying to hide it right now with some foliage, just because it looks a little janky. So I had to I'm like, okay, I might do first person. So you see me putting foliage on concrete right now. I'm like, if I ever do foliage, I want to do like some first person perspectives in our next city update, probably in the next 10 episodes. So I'm gonna make sure I made a note to come back to this area. So thank you guys so much for watching. We're gonna wrap it up. We have some screenshots, some video caps of the finished build. Watch them all. If you made it this long, watch them all. If you like what you see, make sure to subscribe to the channel. New episodes at least once a week, hopefully more in this holiday season. We can increase that, but bare minimum once a week. I have a small town county series also going on, so check that out. I have a vanilla series going on. Check that out. Make sure you binge watch if you are new. If you're binge watching, the next episode is up. All of my weekly viewers, I will see you next week. We're going to ride out to some screen shots, some screen caps. Make sure you check out all my social, Twitter, all that fun stuff to get all of the updates on the latest things design candy. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the views. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.